Search this computer. Okay, so thank you for your patience. I had dengue, and I've just been dealing with some complications from that. I think we've got it sorted now, but just thank you for your patience. So we'll do our part 2 of the revision technique today. And I haven't exactly decided what I'm going to do for the makeup call. So I'm still trying to feel into that about what feels right for me. Because, there's going to be times throughout the container when I'm not going to be able to make calls. Like I might be sick or it might be my birthday week. And I feel like I always do my best to make those up. But I think, throughout the year, there's going to be times where I can't make the call for whatever reason. So I'm trying to figure out, if I just like pre-record it or I gift you guys something instead. So I'm still working through that. If you have any feedback on that, let me know. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with all of that. And if you want to talk about, I know it's been a few weeks, but the week before last, we did the revision technique, which was really fun. But remember, I gave you very specific instructions to be like, okay, you'll know this worked when, right? And so I want you to really go back and really take a minute to think about, did this work? Because the more that we can bank evidence of like, this works, the more powerful today's session is going to be, because we're actually going to do a revision technique as well. It's going to be a little bit different, but it's going to kind of feed off of that first one. So if those of you have not went back and watched the last one, so that would have been not last week, but the week before. So I'll look at my calendar real quick so you guys can have the date. So it wouldn't have been the 17th, it would have been the 10th. So if you have not watched the 10th, please go back and do that first, because it's going to build off of this. And not only go back and watch it, but actually do it and then give yourself a week to track like, oh, this works really well, or not, right? Like we want to start tracking things that work, and for several reasons. The first reason is that we are reinforcing those neural networks of, okay, this is who I am. This is the life I live now. This is the decisions I make. It reinforces them, but also we call this banking evidence. And there's some really interesting data and evidence on this and how this allows us to basically be like, this works. And we almost like, I hate the word gaslighting, but we almost like gaslight ourselves into it working, right? And so really starting to like mark down these things that are working, right? And so like, for example, I just had a session with a private client, and what were we banking evidence on? And she had never seen it. She had never even like made the connection of, oh my gosh, there's so much evidence to support the belief that I get what I want, right? She was just so focused on it's not working, right? And the thing that's really interesting that happens with that is our brain, sorry, let me see if I can switch these. There we go. That sounds better. Our brain will always, always, always look for proof to what we actually believe. And guys, this is different than our conscious beliefs. Our conscious beliefs are a little bit easier to work with because we know what they are. It's the ones that are operating underneath that really we want to change. So once we start changing those operating systems and those belief systems happening under our conscious awareness, then what your brain will do automatically without you having to do much is to find evidence that that's true. So that's why this is really important. So Heather, are you here? Because I just am curious if you can kind of tell me, hi love, how that went for you. If you want to share in the box. And it can just be something simple like, yes, I tracked it and it worked, right? Or I'm still working on it and I'm not sure. Because it'll just help me understand where we're at. I think it worked. Okay. Do you remember the specifics? Because I'm trying to think back, because guys have been super, super sick. So I'm even trying to think back of like what, because you said, I'll know it worked when, and I know it had stuff to do in your business, but I can't exactly remember. I think it was to do in your business, but I also wanted to think it was like to do with maybe relationships. I'm not sure. Do you remember the like something specific that we can use to ground in of like, when I did this, the intention was to experience this or get this. And this happened, so therefore it worked. Because we want to start getting really, really, really specific on what worked, right? So I'm just going to give you a second to do that. Like, no rush, no pressure, but it's going to really help us really ground into this exact experience that we are doing today. And we're going to do it with money today. So we're really going to be able to see, oh, wow, this works, right? So I'm just going to give you a second. And I'm also going to look at my protocol that I wrote out for you guys. Ooh, it is so hot here, y'all. So hot. I did the realization of changing the story several times. And I remember the story that you changed because we went kind of deep on that story. Challenge myself to go on Instagram stories and just be myself, to be my authentic self. I don't do that much, but it was good, easier than I thought. Okay, amazing. Okay, so now what's really interesting about this is we're going to do this in like 2 layers. So the first layer is that I said I was going to show up on my stories and I did. Yes, the authenticity part is a huge part of this, but sometimes when we start first doing this, we're like, I think I'm being authentic. I don't really know. But I want you to just let that go and let that belief go that I'm not sure if I was being myself or not, but I showed up every day on stories, right? And noticing, oh, it was easier. Just taking a moment to notice here that when we have these beliefs, that they seem so big sometimes, like the things that we need to do seem so big. And then we do them and we're like, that was what I've been beating myself up for, or, pushing my launch off for, or, like for me, this is such a thing. I'll sit down to do the thing I need to do, and it literally takes me 10 minutes. And I've been literally for like 3 months, like, beating myself up over it because I haven't done it. And it literally takes me like 10 minutes. Or, something just like showing up every day, right? And it ends up being easier. So then what happens is we start to step into this new version of self that does these things. But then what we're also doing is building self trust, which is pretty much the number one thing. That if you don't have self trust, if you don't self trust to handle it when things go wrong, or trust yourself to show up when you say you're going to, or trust yourself to handle things, you're never going to get to where you want to be in your business or with money. You have to have self trust, right? And so that's a big part of like the relaunch of the program that I'm about to release. And I guess I'll probably release it this week now that I'm like back to normal. But of just our personal power and trusting ourselves, and because that's the key to becoming this new version of ourselves, right? So can you bank that as evidence of, yes, I revise these memories, because I remember the memory of like, with your dad and your, I don't know if it was a stepmom or a girlfriend, but I remember the memory now. And it told you a lot around you, it being safe to show up and be yourself, because for you desire connection so much, right? So we're starting to get a very clear picture of what works for you, right? Like your motivating factor, and you've said this to me several times, is like, I want to create a community, right? A community of moms, or community of people that get it, or whatever. And so I know that connection is really important for you. And so the more that we can bring that into your reality creation, and you creating the money you desire, and the business you desire, and the community you desire, like people tend to think of like business, money, life separately, but in my world, it's all the same, right? Okay, let me just read through the comments really quick. I'll just come back by thinking my audience aren't interested in seeing what? I mean, I hear that, like, but I feel like you have such like a cool life. Like, that's so cool. Okay, all right, I hear you. I hear you, because I don't know that I feel that way, but I definitely feel like I definitely had beliefs before, like I'm saying the same thing, or people get bored with me, or my big thing is I do live a really cool life, and I'm like, I hope people don't think I'm like, bragging. I get really caught up in my head about that because it's like I don't post on social media and make easily 10K months. Like, okay, so I didn't feel safe to just be unsure of how they connect with me. Yeah, I totally hear that. So right now, this isn't really a part of what we were going to do, but I want to really nip this in the bud now. I want you to think of a specific example in your life where you look to somebody else and they would probably be like, wow. Like, I feel like maybe you and Abigail might be a good one of like, she's such a young mom, but like, you really, I don't know, do you feel like the mom part of things like helped you like her more? But she's way younger than you. She's also a mom, but like, you really liked her. And like, do you see how it doesn't have to be like, oh, because obviously the story, sorry guys, I'm just uncomfortable in my chair. Um, of the story of like being older, right? Um, and or maybe it's okay, I like think of an example of where it's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not their target market, but I love them and I buy their stuff. I want you to really, really find evidence that story that you have of like, well, nobody wants to see me. Like I'm older and like they're in a different like stage of life. But for me, I mean, I definitely bought stuff from people that are younger than me for sure. But for me, a lot of times I want to talk to the people that's already been through it. Like as a mom, like, yeah, I want to learn from them. And especially for what you do, which is like dealing with your baby's brain. Who am I gonna pick? Like a young, girl that's like, here, let me tell you about baby brain stuff, versus a mom that has, you know, several kids, twins, and other kids, and is older and like you've been doing this for so long. Like really think about that, right? When I was a young mom, I found most women in their 50s a bit boring. I mean, to be fair, we're all a bit boring. Like, you just have to find, like, the truth is, the more that you're you, the more that your people will find you. It doesn't really matter. And I don't know that for you it really matters because you have such a bomb niche, right? Like, I don't think it really freaking matters. Now, if I was like, if you were like, Fair, and I want to be an influencer, I'd be like, okay, like maybe, I don't know, but like, do you see the difference in that? Like, I just want to show you that's just your brain trying to keep you safe and small. Like, hey, don't let too many people like you or too many people see you, because then maybe people will judge you and think that you're doing it wrong. And, and then that's that whole thing again about triggering people and people calling you out. And then, you kind of going back to being small. Just notice that it's just your cute little brain just trying to protect you. That is all it is. And so I really want you to just really like lean into that for just a second and be like, yeah, that's all that is, because we get to feel the hard emotions. We get to think the things that keep us small and move anyways. That's how we become successful. Like if every person that's successful let all these stories and these people get in their way, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing, right? We all deal with it. Like I'm sure there's people think that I'm boring. Like I live a pretty cool life, but I'm sure there's some people like, oh, she's so boring, right? Like I'm sure influence like if there was like a travel influencer, which there's several like in my community because I live in this really cool like beach surf town. It's some of the best surf in the world. Like, we've got some really very beautiful people that are on Instagram and like kind of like Instagram influencers. And they probably think I'm boring, right? Like they're probably looking at me being like, Farron's like always on her computer, or like, she's whatever. Like, because I have a different lifestyle than they do, right? I'm sure they think I'm boring. Do I care? Not really. Like, that's what I don't know how personally I can get because they aren't that interested, which may be true. I want to figure out how to connect more aside from educating them. Maybe I should just more parenting stories. Okay, well, let's see what comes forward because let me be very clear here. I think this is a really important part and a really important like point to make is that I love this because I'm such a question person. I'm always like wondering why or how or whatever. Like I'm such a why person. Why? As soon as you start asking the question why, it already means that you're desiring an answer to that. And then it's just our job to get out of our own way because the truth is you already know the answer. Somewhere in there, you have the data and the feedback because you've been online and marketing your business for how many years now? I want to say it was like 3. Am I on par with that? So yeah, okay. So you have 3 years of data. You do know. It's just a matter of how do we allow ourselves to be like, okay, yeah, I do know the answer. Or the other side of it could just be, I'm not sure, and I'm just gonna try it out. Like I watched Abigail, I finally like getting into like Abigail's stuff, and watched the training for Rich Girl Rules yesterday, and like set up my mini chat and all of that. And and she was just talking a lot about like just trying things out, which as business owners we know that, but sometimes just hearing it from different people, like that's a part of business, like just trying it out, right? And so I mean, she's really big with storytelling. Why don't you just try it and mix it in with the educating? Like different people do buy in different ways, but what you're doing is working, right? And maybe the belief is just, well, educating is enough. And the only difference that I would say, and obviously like talk with your girl that's doing ads in your business coach and see what she says, obviously. But what if it was just enough? What if you just took the week to tap on the idea that what I'm doing right now is enough and the right people will find it and it won't matter, right? Like we get so caught up in like, am I doing it right? And the truth is there is no right or wrong way. Like I think for me, when I really think back to why people buy from me, I think it's a lot of my personality, and I live this really cool life, and I have a lot of things to like brag about, but I don't do things. Okay, let me rephrase this. It's not that I don't do them, but I'm being better about not doing things that I don't want to do because some business coach told me to do it. Like it's just so inauthentic. And I can so clearly see when I was in containers with certain business coaches, the way that my business would change and the way that I would change and the way I would hide, because I was doing something that was really inauthentic and out of alignment for me. And so I guess all of that to say is that the only reason that you should be wanting to tell more parenting stories to connect with them is if you desire that. Because if you desire that, you can't go in the wrong direction. It can't hurt anything. But don't do it because you're like, I have to. Does that make sense? You could just choose the belief that it's working. And then when you use ads to scale, that you're still going to get to the right people. You don't have to make yourself into anybody that you're not. You can just be you. It just gets to be that easy, right? You can choose that belief, right? So with all of that being said, I think today's like session is going to really help you. Okay. So I do have one question. Oh, okay. I'm going to read this first. My story, all the different countries brought for me. I only listed the last. So surprised that we that and said, don't forget Turkey. Oh my God, that's literally like it's like teary eyed. Like that's beautiful. Like people being like, yeah, don't forget these places. Don't forget Turkey or South Africa. That people that have bought from you. I don't think I've had anybody buy from me from those places. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, and this is the community part, right? Like one thing that I really love about learning from Bridget is like shouting people out, because people also want to be seen and they're also supporting you to say, hey, I'm here, right? But like I think like posting something on your story like that, and then wow, I just had people buy from this place or that place, like that's something cool to do, right? So I really like that. And if it works, sorry, I don't know why I'm so uncomfortable today. um if that really works, like follow that, that's cool. I love that. Okay, so we're going to dive into the revision part 2, and we're going to do it with money, so it's going to be very trackable. But I just want you to take a moment, and I want you to decide, because as I was writing this protocol, I was like, are we going to do it for the week or are we going to do it for the month? And I feel like you've been going so fast that it might be fun to do it for the week. So tap in, ask yourself, you'll know, you'll be like, okay, so let me just tell you the intention. We're going to set an intention of, I want to make this money this week or month, you get to pick. And then we're going to do this really cool, like hypnosis, like hybrid revision protocol. And then, the revision part will create the money that you want. So just know that the intention is that. And the intention is for us to go in, and I'm going to do it not super hypnotically, but a little bit, for you to know the exact thing to revise to get what you want. Has been so slow. And so in the past 3 months, not sure if Instagram. Probably do month. Okay, cool. Is it, so let me ask you this though. I'm gonna push you a little bit, like in the most loving way, but is it because you're scared and you don't think that it can happen. Like, let's go for what you actually truly desire and what feels safe and comforting to you versus, well, it might not work, so let's just go with the month part, right? And that's okay too. Either one is fine. I just want you to start like learning how to listen and be like, oh, this is what's going on. And just see what comes forward. Yes. So the intention here is to always make decisions from not lack, but the positive, the desire. So is it like, okay, I desire to make X amount of money this week and it feels safe instead of, well, I'm going to do the month because it's been so slow and I don't want to like set myself up for failure. Like, which one do you actually desire? Instead of logically thinking, well, logically, it makes sense for me to do the month. What do you actually desire? Yeah, right. I know. Exactly. And it's okay that you like it's okay that if it okay. Well, which one feels better? I don't know. You have to tell me. I have no idea. And you can also, if this is something that's tripping other people up, guys, like you can also do like if you decide to go with the week, which I'm leaning towards like having you guys do the week because I'm excited to see like what happens. But you know what's right for you, and you can be like, Farron, I know this is right for me, and that's what feels right, and you can't do it wrong. But you can also do like good, better, best goals. You can say, okay, well, I want to make this much. Like for me, like when I was like let's say, okay, I was like, I want to make 10K this month, right, off a digital product. Okay, so it might be 5K is good, better is like 8, and 10 is like best, right? You can also break up your stuff like that. If you really struggle with a fear of failure, having a lower one that's still good and you still hit your goal can be very helpful, right? And this is us learning how to set goals that are big for us while still working through, well, I don't want to get too excited because I don't want to be disappointed or feel a fear of failure, right? And honestly, for you, you can't fail. You're already like, okay, like let's really break this down for just a second. You came into my world making $500 a month. And last month, I think you said you made 4,000, I think. And then I think you've even had a 5K month at this point. So how many months would it take to go back to that? Like you can't, like guys, let me be very clear. The internet is so terrible with making you guys think that you always have to go in this upward projection, and you don't. Real growth in your business looks like this. You're going to have dips, and that's just feedback, or it might just be stuff changing with the algorithm. Like that's what makes really good business owners is when they keep going when things feel down, right? Like it is okay. Like I would make the argument that you can't fail this month because even if you did, like even if you made zero, that would still be 4K over the last 2 months. So let's say 2K each versus 500. You know what I mean? So just let me know how that's feeling for you. And at the end of the day, you trust you and what's right for you. If you want to do the month, do the month. You do what's right for you. But let me know what you're doing so I know to say the right words when I'm doing this. Let's do it. I want to challenge myself. I love that. And I believe in this work. 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, perfect. 2 weeks. So, like, let's say, let me look at my calendar really quick. Okay. Yeah, we can do 2 weeks if you want. 2 weeks. So I had a video go viral, 4 million, lots of followers, but over the next 4 weeks, sales go down because they aren't all your people. It's been hard after doing so well. Yes, I'm listening. Thank you. Sounds good. Shall we do with 2 weeks? Yes. Sorry. And I know that you're just like sitting there and you're having to like type a lot of stuff. So never apologize. Like no worries at all. Yeah, 2 weeks, whatever feels right for you. I just want to support you in the way that I is best for you. The other thing is if you're currently working with your business coach, what I would do is I haven't looked at your sales page, although I did send money to my friend to buy your program. So congratulations, like that's pretty cool. Because I was going to buy it for her, and then I was like, well, it's just better for me to like have her do it. So, anyways, so that was really exciting. I forgot to tell you that. Yeah. So, and then her sister's pregnant. So, oh, you're welcome, of course. And of course, when we do our live, sorry, I haven't reached out to you about that, but I'm just like backlog from the other lives of my other clients that I had to cancel because I've been sick, right? Um, and her sister's pregnant, so that's really cool. But anyways, we can also talk about that on our live. But I will circle back around with you about all that. Okay, so 2 weeks. Sorry, I had something to say to you. Oh, about sales pages. So if your new business coach isn't doing this or helping you with this, make sure that you get somebody to do your sales page. I think I feel like I glanced over it, and I think there is some wiggle room for some improvement. So I feel like maybe it's a sales page thing, and it might still just be ironing out who you're talking to, but I feel like you're pretty dialed in on the people you're talking to. So just something to be aware of. And I think I did give you that contact for the person that writes sales pages. So that's just might be the missing piece, because when I went through the Rich Girl Real stuff, that was like one thing I heard over and over and over again, is like people are like, it's not working, or it's not working, or it goes down, or whatever. And a lot of people were talking about sales pages and it not being very like, and so when you have a really good sales page, that kind of, so basically then your job becomes to just get them to the sales page, and the sales page will do the selling for you. So I hope that your business coach is helping you with that, but if not, definitely look into the guy that I gave you. I think I'm actually going to have him do my sales page for this digital product launch I'm about to do. So anyways, just wanted to give you all that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to set your intention for the amount of money that you desire in the next 2 weeks. And if you need to just take a few breaths, do that. Like, don't do it from your logical side of your brain, right? Do it from your body. Like the amount of money, and you can do good, better, best, it doesn't matter. But like the amount of money that you desire in the next 2 weeks, so we can really like practice this, right? And start to notice what works for us. Notice what's working. Notice what helps us show up differently. The strategic things that we need to do, the support that we desire. And just allow yourself and to just, and I would lovingly suggest that you get like specific and be like, okay, in the next 2 weeks, I want to make $3,000, right? Something like that. But do it from your body. Don't do it from your brain. Don't let your brain talk you out of your desires. And just let me know when you've got it. Amazing. So now we're just going to close our eyes and we're just going to be here. And I'm just going to guide you through a really cool, really beautiful meditation, hypnosis. I don't know. I don't even know what it is. It's an experience, right? And the intention here is for you to get to a place where you have such clarity, where you know, okay, this is the support I'm asking for, right? And this can be, I don't know if you're religious, but it can be like from your higher self or God or your angels or anybody, but there is a version of you, which I've walked us through this, right? Our higher self that kind of knows the answers to what we need. So the intention here is to just allow ourselves to have a really beautiful, nourishing, and joyful experience, and just let your imagination kind of go wild with that. I'm not even sure what I'm going to say yet. I'm just going to like guide us through something, right? Okay, so we're just going to take a deep breath, and we're just going to arrive here and now. And just noticing how your body feels against wherever you're sitting, because I don't exactly know where you're sitting. If your feet are on the ground, how your body's feeling, where your brain is at. If there is any sort of fear of failure or being disappointed, and just acknowledging it and just saying, hi, hey, I see you. Because as soon as you just acknowledge that it's here, Like I feel nervous or I feel scared or I feel overwhelmed. You'll notice immediately that all those things start to integrate. They're just trying to communicate with us and just saying, hi, I see you, I hear you, I've got you. And just you'll notice they kind of calm down. And I want you to go to a place that's your perfect place. Because all of our perfect places are going to be different. Sometimes mine kind of goes between two things. Sometimes mine is like a meadowy, like mountainy place, but like galactic looking. I know that sounds weird, but it's not like very green. It's like, like I'm in outer space. Actually, both of my places that I go are kind of in outer space. And the other place that I go to a lot is this beach that I was on in Costa Rica during the pandemic. Um, and there was no people, not another soul. There was just three of us there. And we got to watch this amazing storm roll in. And it was just the most magical experience I've ever had. And it's also in space. I don't know what's up with that, but like I can see the stars so clearly. I can even see the galaxy and the Milky Way. So either one, or pick your perfect place. You'll know exactly where you need to go. This place that just feels so beautiful, but also so much awe and wonder. Like you get to be a child again. You get to just fully be yourself and just start to notice kind of what's around, right? Are you in a forest? Are you on a beach? Maybe you're on a forest on a beach. I mean, this is your experience. So you just go wherever feels right for you. And just start to notice like the feelings that go along with being here, like the emotion, but also the sensations. For me, it's this very like calming feeling and this also this like thought of just anything is possible here. There's so much awe and wonder and joy and curiosity. And it's just like, wow, when I'm in this place, anything is possible. And just notice the beliefs that you have here, the feelings and emotions and sensations and thoughts that you have in this place. Notice how you hold your body. Like even I just like start to smile. I don't even know. Like I'm just like, this is amazing. There's so much play here. Can you imagine yourself allowing yourself, whether it's this version of you or some other version of you or many versions of you, can you let them play? Can you see them frolicking or playing or talking or telling jokes or communing with their family and friends, like this sense of like connection, but also the sense of play and like goofiness, and that you just get to be yourself and you don't have to worry about anyone judging you. You don't have to worry about you upsetting people, that you are completely surrounded by people and animals and things that get you. This is your place with your people. Who are you in this place? What things do you say? What things do you do? How do you hold your body? Giving yourself time here to just play, and you can adjust colors, you can make it bright and vivid. And you like mine always tends to be, because I'm such an evening person, which is really weird because I go to bed at like literally 9 o'clock. I'm not kidding. But there's something about evening vibes that are such a thing for me, like the starry night and this kind of like dark kind of ambiance and this kind of like chill hop low fly, like I know that people probably don't know what that kind of music is, but it's this very like, you know, like almost like I'm trying to think of like the way I would describe that music, like escapism a little bit. And just like, I don't know, these beats and melodies that just make me feel so good and I love it. And it's just such a vibe. And so whatever music is your favorite music, whatever, evokes this feeling of like I'm in this perfect place. This is my perfect moment, right? But maybe your place is really sunny. Maybe you're at the beach. Maybe you're on an island with crystal clear water. And wherever you are, when you feel like you're like, I just get to play here, this is amazing, I can come back to this place anytime, I want you to imagine to the left that there's a lot of flowers and plants to the left of you. And all of these flowers and plants to your left represent your past, represent memories that you can revise, represent things that we can change to create the reality you desire today, this week, next week, and the next 2 weeks. And I want you to just make your way over to these flowers and these plants. And I want you to start pulling weeds. When you get close, you'll start to notice there might be some things that don't look quite right or don't feel quite right. And if nothing's there, just pretend. Be like, which do I intuitively need to start pulling out? This is no longer serving me. That's not really something I want to experience anymore. That's not something I want to believe anymore. And just start pulling. With love, we're not like, freaking out. We're just like, okay, let's just do some gardening with the intention of making these plants and these flowers the most beautiful plants and flowers, and ones that only support you and the reality that you want and the money that you want and the business that you want. And as you're pulling things out, notice that a memory will pop up that represents the one that you need to work with. So set the intention right now that the memory that comes forward is the memory that we need to work with to create that money that we had the intention for at the beginning, right? So in the next 2 weeks, I want to make X amount of money. And I'm just pulling these weeds and pulling these plants. And maybe the plants are pretty, but like they don't belong there. You'll know. You'll just say, that's not quite where I want it to be. And with the intention that we get to the right memory of what we need to revise to make the money that you desire in the next 2 weeks. Pulling and pulling and pulling. And the memory will come up. And just go with it. The memory might not even make sense. You might even be like, what is this, right? And take all the time you need here. And if you feel like you need help, you can ask like your highest version or God or your angels or whatever, and say, hey, help me find a memory that I really need or want to revise to create the reality and the money I desire today, right now. Because you already have that information. You already know it. It's just a matter of getting to it. And when a memory pops up that represents the change to your unconscious that you want to make to create the money that you desire in the next 2 weeks. And all I want you to do is just revise the memory. Revise it in a way that you see it, feel it, and experience it in the way that you wanted it to happen. Don't get caught up in your brain. Just trust the right memory will come. You can't do this wrong. Because I'm holding the intention that you're doing it right. You are so fully supported by me, you, your higher self, the universe. And as you start to revise this memory, what would you say differently? How would you act or respond differently? What would you see? How would you feel? The feeling is the most important part here. And if you need to rewind that memory, then rewind it and then do it. Do it in the best way that works for you, where it feels easeful to just revise the memory to happen exactly how you desire it to happen. That creates this feeling of joy and gratitude, and probably even a feeling of like accomplishment of like, yeah, like I can do this. Or any other feeling that you desire. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's safety. safety. And just notice that once that's done, there might be more memories that pop up. Now imagine that the next memory comes forward and it's like, oh yeah, there's this one. I'm going to revise that one too. I'm going to revise this memory. So I start to create my reality. I start to become that person that makes the money that I desire with ease in the next 2 weeks. Again, if you need to rewind it, then revise it. Having it play out exactly the way that you desire, the exact experience that you want, the exact experience and feelings and beliefs and sensations that are going to allow you to become the person that creates the money you desire. What do you see? What do you say? How do you respond? How do you act differently? How do you hold your body differently? Having this memory revised to the way that you want it. How does it feel? What are your emotions? What are your sensations? And when you get to a point where things just feel good, you're like, I am in control. I can choose to revise any memories that I desire. And then I can do this with every memory that I need to. And once you get to a place where you've revised it and you start to feel all these positive emotions, all those positive sensations, and you're like, okay, I want you to just ask, is there any other memory that needs to be revised right now in this session for me to make the money I desire in the next 2 weeks? And trust that the right memory comes. Breathing deeply, allowing yourself to play and have fun with it. We're not doing anything that should feel hard or frustrating. It's just, I just trust. And if there's not another one, that's okay too. But if there is, I want you to do it with that one. Rewind the memory that usually helps, and then create the desire that you want. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What are the colors? Like, be in the new revision of this memory. Be there now. Seeing, hearing, feeling what you feel. But the most important thing is that you have these sensations and the emotions in your body that feel good and supportive. Feeling free, feeling this awe, this like anything is possible and I can do this and I am supported and I get to do it while having fun and I get to do it while being myself and I get to do it surrounded and supported by the people I love and that understand me and that get me. Can you bring in some play? Can you bring in some joy? If you brought in more joy and more play into this memory, what happened to the colors? Do they get brighter? So when you've got this and you've got these memories revised, I want you to make the colors really bright and vivid in a way that feels good, in a way that feels like they've already happened, that this is your reality. Okay. And now I want you to imagine that it's 2 weeks from now and you've hit your goal or surpassed it. How does that feel? And if it feels anything other than, well, duh, then you can remind that and then create from there. 2 weeks. And I just showed up. I let it be easy. I brought in more play and more joy. I didn't make having a dip in my income mean anything other than, oh, well, I get to try something new and I get to have fun with it. And there's such a sense of control of like, I am in control and I can create my reality. A feeling of safety and security, financial security, but also safe to create your reality, safe to be out there in front of people doing the things that you do, saying the things that you say, offering the thing that you offer. And when you get to a place where you feel like, well, duh, of course this is going to happen. And if you're struggling to make that happen, we can do the installation here. We can just tap, in between your ring finger and pinky finger and be like, I've made X amount of money. I did it with ease. It's so safe for me to make the money I desire, to show up and just be authentically me. My people will find me. My people will pay me. I have all the tools. I have all the support I need. There's no way I could fail. I just get to move forward in a way that feels good and joyful for me. I don't have to make anything mean anything about me. I just have the money that I desire because I desire it and because I have something that helps people. I get to show up in a way where people pay me. And it just gets to be easy. I don't have to complicate anything. I don't have to have the story that I'm doing it wrong or that people are going to judge me or that I'm going to fail. It's just, I just get to sell. It just gets to be easy. I get to have what I desire. My desires are intelligent. My desires are intelligent. It's safe for me to have what I want. Safe for me to have the money I want. Safe for me to be myself. And maybe saying hear what you need to hear until that positive belief installs into your body and you'll feel it. You'll feel it click in like a Tupperware and you'll have a physiological response. You'll yawn or you'll sneeze or you'll stretch and just notice that it's done. It's already here. And now you can make those colors brighter. You can bring it closer. You can make it whatever you want to do to make it feel just so good. But with ease, like it doesn't need to feel hyperactive. It just gets to feel easeful, calming. And at this point, you can ask if there's anything that you do need to do or that you do need to know to help you get there. And just trust that if there's an answer that you need or information that you need, it will come. Just doing that now. And take all the time you need here, but also when you're done, I just want you to end with gratitude. Gratitude is such a high emotion and it really helps it kind of imprint into our body. And as you have gratitude for like the fact that it's just done, that you don't have to do anything else. I mean, yeah, you have to show up and sell, but like you're not doing anything wrong. You just have to show up and or take action on, anything that came forward that you do need to hear or listen to or change or whatever. But in an easeful way, right? But really grounding it in with gratitude will help it start imprinting in your body. And you'll notice that as you breathe in this gratitude, notice how you hold your body. Notice how you hold your body from a place of, it's done. And I have gratitude for that, for this space, for me showing up, for doing this work. I have so much gratitude. And I just want you to notice the feelings that you had at the beginning of this call versus now about the money that you desire. You feel differently about it. You probably feel like it's way more likely to happen. So if that feels good for you, let me know. Like, yeah, it feels better. It feels different. Oh, I feel very encouraged. Yes, amazing. Amazing, right? And I just want you to notice in like 1 hour, the span less than an hour, really, because the first bit was just me talking, right? You literally became a new person. Look how you're holding your body. Look at the beliefs that you now have. So I want to ask you for your grounded action step. It might be, okay, every day I'm going to tap on it's working. You know, like I choose that it's working. I choose that I don't need to do anything else other than what I'm doing. And you'll know, ask your body which one's right. Or maybe it gave you, when you ask like, hey, is there something I need to do or change? Maybe it gave you some information. Or it might just be, okay, I need to make this tweak or this change, right? Or it could just be, it's just done. It's just is because I choose for it to be that way. And just let me know so I can kind of hold you accountable a little bit of like, okay, what is it that we're going to do to ground this in for us to start cultivating that self-trust of like, or maybe it's more revision work. Maybe you're like, I need to sit down and do this daily before I go to bed and revise my day. If I have a bad day, I need to revise. And it works really well if you're like, oh, I'm not making the cells I want. Well, maybe you revise that you are making the cells that you want. What feels right but easy, right? I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with the grounded action step. What feels easy for you? Change my attitude. I felt down. What was going on? But that's all possible. So encouraged, so normal. Perfect. Amazing. And I just want you to just see really, really quick before we hop off. It was just a belief. And don't worry because we can change those. And it's okay that that happens. This is new for you. Having these higher cash rents is new for you. You're still learning how, your body's still learning how to acclimate to that. And because there's this fear of failure, it's like, well, then if it doesn't actually keep happening, then I'm going to be disappointed, then I'm going to be sad. And it's like, no, I just get to choose that it's working. And if something is strategic that we need to change, that we will. And that's it. Doesn't have to be any more difficult than that. That was just a belief. Yeah. You're so welcome. Let me know how it goes. I know I've not really been like active in the Facebook group, but if you do drop something in there, I will see it. And we're still working on getting everything moved over. I took that time off. So hopefully we'll, but I actually kind of like the Facebook group. I'm still going to add things to the new platform. I don't think I'm going to do the community on the platform. I haven't decided, but you know, I just have been pinning the replays at the top, like of the featured, and I really like it. I feel like it's just really simple and easy. So anyways, I feel like it works for now. Okay, you like it? Okay, cool. But we will have everybody moved over to the new platform just so you guys will have like billing information, like all of that, you know, stuff. So either way, okay, well, let me know how it goes and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.